Welcome to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. We are two dads talking sports during nap times. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode. Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. For today's episode, we'll start off with some Minnesota Timberwolves talk. Then my special guest will go over their top 5 favorite Vikings players. We will then go over our top 5 favorite Timberwolves players as well. Enjoy the show. So before we get started, I just want to welcome back Kevin Gustafson to the podcast. So Kevin's been one of my longtime friends here, growing up in the same neighborhood. Just an absolute gem of a person. So Kevin, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, no, of course. Mm-hmm. So just like me, Kevin is a huge Minnesota sports fan. Yep. He loves the Vikes. He doesn't like the Twins, though. He's a Yankees fan, unfortunately. But
I do like the Twins also, but I'm also a Yankees fan. So.
Okay, sounds good. But Kevin is a huge Timberwolves fan, too, so I'm excited for this podcast to be a little Timberwolves heavy. We'll jump over our Western Conference Finals here and then just do a little other Timberwolves talk as well. So, Kevin, before we start into breaking down the Western Conference Final, how did you just become, such a big Minnesota sports fan? Obviously, growing up in the state of Minnesota is one thing, but then kind of sticking with your teams and all that is another thing. So
yeah, I was born in Minnesota, so naturally just came up a Minnesota sports fan. It's funny because like when I was a kid, I was pictures of me as a baby wearing like a Packers onesie, and then in my kindergarten school picture, I'm wearing a Packers shirt. But then you jump forward a couple of years, and I'm wearing a Minnesota Vikings necklace, and I'm not entirely sure when I switched from being a Packers fan at first to a Vikings fan. I think it was more my grandma, because my grandma was a huge Packers fan because she was born and raised in Wisconsin. But yeah,
okay.
So I just naturally became a Vikings fan, and then I've been a Timberwolves fan since, I don't know, longer than I can remember, I guess.
Yeah, since you're probably a kid for sure.
And even when in the last 20 years, since the last time we made the conference final, when we were just complete in the dumps, crappy, I still always was a Timberwolves fan.
Yeah, for sure. You stuck with them through the good times and through the hard times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of more hard times, good times during that stretch. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally, definitely.
So yeah, last time they were in had a playoff run like this, I think I was, 20 years back. I was 11 years old. So for you,
I was 13 back then.
13, yep. So it's been a long time coming. Like I said before, even though that we had a disappointment here in the Western Conference Finals, just being able to watch the Timberwolves this length.
Make it this.
Yeah, this length into the playoff has been.
It's not to make it this far,
Yeah, exactly. So just gave us something to root for.
And honestly, I think they easily could have won this series because we were ahead with like 5 minutes to go in every single game except for, the atrocious Game 5 that ultimately sent us home. So
yep, for sure.
It easily could have went our way, I think. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, they have they have a lot of experience here in this run.
Yeah.
Just thinking off the top of my head, we have Cat. He'll be coming back unless we trade him this offseason. Gobert will be back. Ant will be back. McDaniels will be back. Conley will be back. Na will be back. He has a 1 more year deal after this year.
Do you hear that?
Nas will be back as well.
Because Anthony Edwards made All-NBA, they added an extra $40 million to his contract because he made All-NBA.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, because he made All-NBA this year, he was eligible for a Supermax contract. So now, and that's why Karl Anthony Towns signed that huge Supermax contract a couple years ago, was because he made All-NBA a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So now, because Anthony Edwards made it this year, they added an extra $40 million onto his contract. That's crazy, yeah.
Well, that is news to me, and that's going to make things a little more difficult. That's a fact. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. We'll see if they'll pay that luxury tax to move forward. That's a lot of money to pay for, but hey, some of these owners are pretty rich.
Yeah.
So they got that money for sure. So yeah, we'll just dive right into the Wolves then. Yeah, we're just going to go over the Timberwolves series against Dallas, and then we'll talk about kind of like where we think the Wolves should go
Yeah.
here this offseason, what you think they should do. You know, if they should trade Cad and stuff like that, what do they need to move forward so they can make the
Mm-hmm.
NBA finals next time? So going over game one. So
Mm-hmm.
starting off, we lost 108 to 105 at home. We shot 42.7% from the field. We were 36.7% on three-pointers and 61.1% from the free throw line, which is just inexcusable. Our top scorer in game one was Jaden McDaniels with 24 points. He really had an incredible first half shooting the ball, but, you know, in the second half, he didn't do too much. I think he ended up with maybe less than 5 points or so. I think he was close to 20 points at the end of the first half. Our big two that really we're counting on with Ant and Cat combined for 35 points. That's just not going to get it done. They both shot pretty poorly too in game one. Together, they had a field goal percentage of 33.3% and a 3-point percentage of the same thing at 33.3%. So, in comparison, though, the Mavericks' big two, Luka and Kyrie, had a combined 66 points. So they almost doubled what our big two had, with both of them being over 30 points as well. And together, they had a field goal percentage of 48.9% and a 3-point percentage of 23%. So they kind of shot poorly from the 3-point range in game one. But overall, they were pretty effective together shooting those twos. So their field goal or their free throw percentage, though, was 94.1%, which was huge for them. So they're really
That's the
strong
difference
free
of
throw
winning and
shooters.
losing a game right there.
Yep, for sure. So I definitely thought that game one was the one that kind of got away from us in this series. You know, like you said,
Going totally.
we controlled most of the game, and as a team, Dallas shot uh, from the field goals. They shot 49.4%, and three pointers were 24%. So really, they weren't really that effective shooting on the threes like they were in some other games we'll talk about. But here's the big stat
Yeah.
that I put on here: the last minute and 56 in the game, we were outscored 7 points to 3 points, which is just not going to get it done. That was pretty
Nope.
inexcusable.
Yep. Yep. That was the
So
reason why we lost. You know, that and the free throws was the biggest reason why we lost game one.
for
You
sure,
know, even though Canton, Anthony Edwards, and Carly Towns, they didn't shoot the ball well. I mean, you knock down your free throws, and guess what? We win game one. Like,
yep,
you know, and then
yeah,
it's a completely different series if you win game one, you know?
yep, for sure. Right from the get go, we were just right in the hole right away, and we were kind of trying to claw back out. So, you know, I thought overall we played better in game two, and I'll kind of break that down here too. So, game two, though, was an absolute heartbreaking loss. Uh,
Well, that was the
109,
one where Anthony Edwards, that was the Luca shot, right?
it was, yep. Luka
Yeah.
hit
Yeah.
that three with 3.1 seconds left in the game. He hit that three over Gobert. They did a nice little play there, and
Pick and roll.
they got a pick and roll there. McDaniels took the other guy. Gobert was the one who left, had to go cover Luka, and
Something never
Luka
happened.
just clutch. All series he was
Something
clutch
never happened.
for sure.
He really was.
Like, what can they do in that situation? You know, like how do they not get Gobert put in that situation of having to cover Luka? Like he was literally embarrassed. He looked like he was on an ice skating rink.
Yeah, I don't know. If Jaden McDaniels, honestly, in that situation, I probably would have taken Cat out of the game. I mean, I would have taken Rudy Gobert out of the game because
Yeah.
you knew that was. You already knew that was going to happen. You
Hmm.
already knew that they're going to put Rudy Gobert in a pick and roll and make him decide which one's going to do it.
Yep.
And if Rudy Gobert went with the guy, he's going to shoot the three.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, you know, Luka passes the ball to, you know, I don't know. In that whole situation, I just want that Rudy Gobert in the game
Yeah. He was
because I
acting
already
from out.
knew, you already knew what was going to happen. You already knew what was going to happen. That his guy was going to pick and roll with him, and then give Luka the decision of what to do after that.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, if I was Luka Doncic, I would have shot the ball over him too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
Luka's what 6'7". You know, I mean, he's not short.
yep.
You know, I mean, so obviously he has the range to shoot over him anyway. You know,
Dude, just his
and you
performance
give
through the whole series. is one of the most like clutch shooting performances I've ever seen watching the NBA.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like everything he was just dropping. It was so frustrating to watch because it's like,
It
God
was.
damn, what do we have to do to make this guy miss? You know? Like
Totally.
there's perfect defense on some of these, and he's just hitting them
Yep.
swish after swish after
It's
swish.
crazy. It's
I think it
ridiculous.
was game 4 where he shot that one from almost kind of like the logo there and drew a foul. It could have been a 4-point play
Oh,
at the end of the
yeah.
game, and he hit it. You know, it's like this guy just
Uh,
hits crazy shots after crazy shots. So I don't know, man. Like he might be from a different planet. So
and it's so
NBA,
funny
look at
watching him play
talent.
basketball. Because just like how he plays basketball
Uh-huh.
doesn't you like, how are you so good? Because, like, he's not athletic at all whatsoever, you know? He's not like,
Yeah.
like LeBron James is jacked and, super athletic, and then you see Luka Doncic who has
Yep.
just his dad bod, I just feel like, nonchalant comes on the
Yeah.
floor, but then dude makes every shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a sniper,
And his
man. Like
and his
in
passing
hockey, you
ability
call it.
and his passing ability
Mm-hmm.
is just out of this world. Like the passes this dude makes is like, how do you can't even defend the guy? He either does a
Yep.
pick and roll,
For sure.
and depending on he's either gonna shoot the three or he's just gonna throw a lob to, and then you have an alley oop. Just like
Dude, that was another thing that frustrated me. Like, how many times are you allow
just
these
throw alley
guys
oop.
to come drive in the paint and throw an alley oop to Gafford or Lively? Like that was something that was very like frustrating. Game over and over and over again. It's like we kept getting baited in the same exact play, and you could just see it coming.
And we kept falling for it.
Yeah.
And we kept falling for it. That's why, and I blame the coaches on that because I blame the coaches and the players because like everybody knew what was coming. We just couldn't stop it.
Yep.
Was the problem, And then at the end of all the games, we just couldn't close out the game.
Yep.
You
know, it's unfortunate because Kyrie really kind of had a slow play off the start, and I think him finally hitting and coming alive really made a big difference for the Mavericks
Totally.
because when you have those two big two going forward,
Wow.
like they're tough to beat. And Boston's a very,
Yeah.
very good basketball team. But you know what? Dallas is a very, very good basketball team too, especially if they can shoot this effectively. So I think this series is going to be fun, and maybe after we're done with this, we can kind of predict who we think is going to win the NBA Finals together, and maybe we can do like an MVP as well real quick too. So, but yeah, so just going back to game 2 real quick, but this was the game 2 that really frustrated me with the reffing, the officiating of this game. I go back, we got screwed on some calls. The Mike Conley push off where Gafford pushed him in the back and then extended his arm and laid it up kind of on a crazy play. Like, heck of a play, but a clear foul there. Mike Conley gets up. He's yelling at the ref. When Mike Conley's yelling at the ref that there's a foul because he does not complain.
No, he's not at all. And then
and then
that one fall on Towns where he didn't even touch, or maybe that was it. I think that was the Denver series actually. Yeah, that was the Denver series.
Okay.
When he didn't touch
but
the Joker
overall, like,
and they called the foul on him, I'm like,
yep.
He didn't even touch.
Yeah, overall the officiating was just kind of rough throughout the whole playoffs, very inconsistent. But the big one in this game was when there was, I'm not sure exactly. I know I think it was within a minute, right, left of the game. McDaniels has a ball down on our end. Kyrie slaps his hand. The ball goes out.
They need to change that ruling because if you want to make it right, you have to be able to change if it was a foul or not. Like,
yep.
That rule is so dumb because it was clearly a foul. If Kyrie wouldn't have slapped him, the ball wouldn't have went out of bounds.
Yep, exactly. For sure.
The NBA needs to go back and change that ruling. And honestly, I think they will. Just because of that call exactly,
Yep. Another Minnesota sports team getting screwed on a rule that, is not in place in a big situation.
Yeah,
and then it gets put in place after the fact. So just another Minnesota sports team kind of getting screwed in that situation. But yeah, you're right on. Like, if McDaniels didn't get his hand slapped by Kyrie, he's not losing the ball. Like, he lost the ball because he got his hand slapped. That was the only reasoning. And the fact that you have to go back and review it to see who had the last possession of it, right? Who did the ball go out on? But there's a clear foul in place. It just and you can't change it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like you
Mhm.
said, the point of reviewing is getting the
Yeah,
play correct,
that
and
is
they
totally agree.
totally there's nothing they could do about it based on the ruling on the
Yep.
floor, but it's definitely something that has to change for the
Mhm.
future, that's for sure. So,
Yep.
unfortunate that we have to be on that
And
end.
actually, even the announcers
Yep.
were saying that too. Even the announcers in the game were saying that same
Yeah,
exact thing
for
too.
sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone who's an NBA fan would agree with that. You know, like
Right,
that was a
totally.
pivotal
Regardless of what
moment.
team.
That was a pivotal moment in that
Mhm.
game, too. Like we lost a
Yeah.
possession based on that, and I'm pretty sure. Well, no, that's not the one that we gave Dallas ball back. That was when in the end of that game too. And all he had to do was drive the paint, draw a foul. But instead, he's
That was it. That was it, John.
Yep, he looks around, he throws the ball out of bounds, and then they get the last possession, or not last possession, but their last possession when Luka gets the ball and he hits that three.
Yeah.
So that was another big thing too. Hopefully that's something that he can.
I think and honestly, I think he just tried to make a superhero play at the end of the game, try to win the game. That's what he tried. Instead of just making the right
Yeah,
play, he tried to make a superhero play to win the game. Instead of just making the right play to win the
yeah,
game, he tried to do something extraordinary to make himself look even better than he already is. Just like you don't need to do that, man. Just
yeah,
be
for
smart with
sure.
the ball. You had the lead anyway. Like, you had the lead
Hmm.
with like 10 seconds to go. Why you throw the ball away? Make them follow you.
Yep,
And then you hit
for
the free
sure.
throws, and we're up by three and then that whole Luka Doncic play never even happens. So,
Exactly. Yep. If he gets to the line and he hits those
yeah,
free
pretty
throws,
much,
then
yeah.
game's over pretty much. And like you said, Luka
Right?
doesn't get that shot to break our hearts. But just to go over quick, like the fact that we
Hmm.
still didn't shoot, we were better from the free throw line overall in that game. And Dallas kind of, no, Dallas was pretty, they were pretty similar to us as well. But so I have
Hmm.
that though, as a team, we shot 41.2% from the field in game two. We hit 38.7 of our three pointers, and we're 81.3% of the on our free throw line. So obviously the game was a lot closer because of that reasoning. If we could have done that in game one, we would have won game one, right? This was also the Nas Reed game. He was incredible in that game. He was the top scorer for us at 23 points. He went 8 of 13 on his field goals, 7 of 9 from the 3-point line. And we know how it all ended. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to hit that three at the end of the game. But were you a little surprised they didn't try to like dry up or drop a play to maybe get like a mid-range shot to go for the two? Because we're only down by 1 point at that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. But then, I don't know how much time was left? Like 3 seconds left when we got after we hit that shot.
Well, yeah,
So
because
maybe
Luka
the
hit that
base of it.
shot on Gobert 3.1
Yeah, so I
left.
mean, you only have 3 seconds left, but still, you should still be able to pass the ball through the line, take a couple dribbles, and then jump and shoot. So I mean, so I think there was enough time to hit a mid-range shot, but you know, I mean, I can see why they let Najee shoot a three though at the end of the game because the dude was on fire. I mean, he's the only
For,
reason why we were in
for
the game to
sure.
begin with. So I can
Yeah,
totally, he's
exactly.
got
Yeah,
the hot
he only
hand.
missed
I can
one.
totally see why he shot the last shot of the game. I'm okay
Yep.
with the last play.
And you only hit.
I'm okay with the last play.
Hmm.
I mean, could you have gotten a better one? Probably. But with the way he was shooting the ball, I can totally see why he was the one to shoot the ball at the end of the game.
No, no doubt about that. Like you had to go
Hmm.
with the hot hand there. He only missed one 3-pointer at that point of the game,
Yeah.
so I understand it completely. I thought maybe like we
Hmm.
try to drop a play to get a little mid range shot to get something to fall. But hey, they went for it.
Yep.
We didn't get it, so that's just the way it was. But same thing again in game two. Ant and Cat combined for 36 points. They went 9 of 33 from the field, so just not cutting it, man. And they were 3 of 12 on 3-pointers too. So just outplayed again by their top two. Luka and Kyrie combined for
Yep.
52 points with a field goal percentage.
They all played the entire series.
Yep, they really did. They were 50% from the 3-point line between them two. Luka and Kyrie in game 2.
That's
So just
ridiculous.
closed out the game. You know, that's just probably the 2 best closers in the NBA at this point, I would say.
Oh yeah,
Compared to, you know, Boston.
And the sad thing is that they're on the same team.
Like Boston has Jaylen
And
Brown.
they're on the same
What's
team,
that?
which is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. You know, who do you think's better? You know, if you had to pick, because obviously Jason Tatum, what is he? Is he a power forward?
I think both.
Or is he a small
I
forward?
think Jaylen Brown.
Okay, and then Jaylen Brown, he's a point guard, right?
So I think I'm not sure who the point guard is, but I think Jason Tatum plays the 3 and the 4, and Jaylen Brown plays the 1 and the 2. So I think they alternate, but it all depends on who they have in the game, you know. So I think Derek White.
Okay. I can picture their point guard. Derek White, that's it. He's a point guard, isn't he?
Derek White, yeah. Derek White.
He's got to be a point guard. He's shorter. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
He played for San Antonio, I think, before Boston, didn't he?
Yes.
Man, he's pretty good. He's a good player for sure. I've been seeing from during the playoffs, he can hit his threes, that's for sure. So
he does threes, and he's like one of the top defensive players in the right now. You know, in these playoffs, his defense has been incredible.
Yep, for sure. Well, moving on to game 3. So, you know, we lost game 3, 116-107. Dallas just couldn't miss again. Their shooting was unbelievable in game 3. Cat was an absolute no-show with a terrible performance. He ended with playing 38 minutes. He went 5 of 18 on field goals, 0 of 8 from the three-point line with 14 points. And was more aggressive in this game, was better. He ended playing the game. He had 43 minutes he played throughout the game, which is crazy. He had 26 points.
That's only said, you only said 5.
Yep. He had 26.
Only said 5 minutes.
Yep, for sure. He had 26 points. He went 11 of 24 on field goals. 0 for 2 on three-pointers. But the big story of this game, though, was how Luka and Kyrie ended the game both with 33 points. So Luka was 10 of 20 on his field goal, which is 50%, and 5 of 11 on three-pointers, which is just under 50%. Kyrie was 12 of 20 on field goal percentage. He was 50% at three-pointers. So between them both, they ended up with 60 points. And as a team, Dallas shot 55.9% on their field goals and 50% from the three-point line. And on top of that, 83.9% on their free throws. In Minnesota, we shot 50% on field goals, 30% on threes, and 70.6% on our field free throws. So, you know, just again, it's just not going to get it done. Unfortunately, when we're not matching up with them, like, I don't care. Like, you can have arguably one of the best young players in the world with Anthony Edwards, but when your overall team is not hitting on their shots,
you ain't gonna win.
Not just one guy just can't do it all.
Exactly.
You know, so.
And what do you do when the other team is just shooting lights out? Like, you can't stop. You know, they couldn't stop them. They just couldn't. I mean, when they're shooting 50% from the three-point line, like, that's insane. That's like Kyrie. That's like Steph Curry level three-point shooting. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know.
Now's their whole team.
Yeah, exactly right.
The whole team together shot 50% from the three-point line.
Steph Curry for one game. It's like, okay, well, this game's a wash.
Yeah,
that was the only game.
For sure.
Game 3 and Game 5. Well, Game 5, I really don't. That game was just bad. But Game 3 and Game 5 were the only two games.
Game 4, maybe.
No, Game 3 and Game 5 were the only two games in the series that I think that where we didn't throw the game away. You know what I mean? But then again, in Game 3, with 5 minutes to go in the game, we had the lead. In every game, besides Game 5, we had the lead with 5 minutes to go in the game. And we choked into it.
Yep. It's a great point, you know? Like, exactly. We just found a way to choke.
Turnovers or just stop hitting shots, you know? And I don't think Dallas played super good defense like we did against Denver. They just we just couldn't make a basket. You know?
They kind of got their bounces too to help them out a little bit. They're just hot, man. Like, when you're on a roll, you're on a roll, and they were just on a roll that game. Like, I don't care what we could have done, but You know, obviously, moving on to game 4. So overall, back and forth battle throughout the game. We kind of flipped the script of the series, and we were able to put a nice stretch together towards the end of the game. Finally, close it out. In game 3, game 2, game 1, they closed it out on us. We flipped the script in game 4, and we were able to close it out. So from the field, we shot much better as a team. We were 52.7%, and we were 45.8% on our 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And 64% from the free throw line again. So that's something that I think they got to work on this offseason is from the free throw line, because it's consistently in those 60s, it seems like on average, you'd have to say.
Exactly.
So, and then Ant and Cat both had their best games of the series, I would say, in game 4. Combined, they scored 54 points, is what we were expecting them to do throughout the series. Cat finished with 25 points in only 30 minutes of play because he fouled out at the end of the game. But man, like,
the thing that irritating with Karl-Anthony Towns is with his fouls is that they're just the stupidest fouls ever. Like over the back, stupid. Like,
yep,
fight another day, man. Like
just boneheaded
fouls is just stupid. Like, bro, just stop making stupid fouls and like, we need you. Like, we need you on the court. You get 3 fouls in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. Well, guess what? Now you're not playing till the second half.
Yep. And then he's throwing his arms in there like he didn't do anything and stuff like that. It's like, dude, like, it's a clear foul. Just stop doing this stupid stuff. But, even with those stupid fouls, he was a huge reason why we won game 4, because he was 4 of 5 for threes, and he hit 3 of those threes down the stretch in the fourth before falling out. So he was pretty clutch for us. It's unfortunate that he couldn't have that performance throughout the whole series and be consistent. But we'll see what happens. Like, and then moving on to game 5, like, we were just absolutely.
I was at a baseball game. My kids had the first baseball game on game 5. And then game got over. I got home, turned the game on, and we're down by 20 at halftime. And I'm like,
yep.
I couldn't even. I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna put the game on anymore, because if it's this bad, we're down 30. Like, I'll turn it back on if we get something close. But I was watching the rest of it on my phone, and I'm like, this is so bad. It's not like we didn't. We didn't play terribly bad. Just Luka turned into a god and then couldn't miss the first half. He had like 25 points.
He was really the big difference. And I thought, we just, like you said, he couldn't miss. But we also, I felt like, just kind of fell flat, came out flat and all that. We weren't hitting our shots. But usually I'm a guy who will follow the team all the way through the end, like the Vikings. No matter what the score is, I'm going to watch all the way through the end of the game. And this game, I was just so disappointed with the way we were playing, and I could just tell that when we were down, I think 30 points at halftime, roughly around there, or something around that.
That's how you know it's bad.
It was just so disappointing that I couldn't even get myself up to watch the second half.
I heard
because
that,
it was just so depressing the way we played.
That's how you know it's bad.
So
that's how you know it's bad. That and I guess I heard that, like, 'cause I didn't watch because I had the baseball game, but the game was tied 18-17. The game was tied 18-18, or it was a 1-point game, whatever. And then they went on a 17-1 run.
Yep.
Like, how do you score 1 point and then the other team scores 17 in a row? It's just crazy.
For sure. And the thing is, like, hopefully going forward, they gain some experience here. And I think this is a perfect segue to what you think they should be doing this offseason. I see a lot of things, or a lot of people saying that maybe they should try to trade Towns, get out of his contract. What do you think? Like, what do you think the Wolves should do this offseason? What do they need to add so we can make a step forward and potentially win the Western Conference Finals, get to the finals next time?
Honestly, I think they need to add another shooter, particularly. I saw a thing that said that the Timberwolves should try to go after Darius Garland, point guard from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Because Mike Conley's getting up there in age.
Yep.
So that'd be a perfect replacement for Mike Conley. Because Darius Garland can create his own shot, can shoot
Yeah.
the three,
Yep.
plays pretty good defense,
For
get a
sure.
whole heck of a lot younger, more athletic,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do because I see a lot of
Mhm.
reports saying that some say that we should trade Rudy Gobert, another people
Mhm.
say we should trade Towns, like
If you had the pick, which one would you? Which one? If you were the general manager of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who would you trade and
I'll
why?
probably trade. mm, I'll probably trade Rudy
That's a tough
Gobert.
one.
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, his defense is great. However, when he played the Nuggets, Jokic made him look like a baby. The only one that could guard,
Yeah.
the only one that could guard Jokic was Towns. You know,
Mhm.
he,
Yeah. Him
they,
and Nas.
yeah, him and Nas Reed were the ones that could. So if he could trade Rudy Gobert and get another shooter, and
Mhm.
then you could even start Nas Reed. You know, could have Darius Garland, Anthony Edwards, Jane McDaniels, Nas Reed, and currently Towns as the starting five, and then
Yep.
if you had a couple more shooters on the bench, you know,
Mhm. You'd
that
still
could
have
shoot.
Mike Conley too, because we extended him this season to 2 more years. But I agree with you. I think like that would be
You can even keep
perfect
Mike Conley
because
as a backup point guard, because
yep. Yeah.
he can still
Exactly.
come in and shoot the three and be the floor general, for the backup squad,
Yep.
get a couple more shooters like
He might be better suited as a 6 man as versus a starting
exactly.
five. With his age too, could maybe
He's
help him
playing a
keep
little
him
longer,
a little
yeah,
fresher throughout the whole
yeah.
season and stuff.
hmm
So I like that a lot. Okay, I'm gonna give you a hypothetical trade. I saw this one. So the Timberwolves would have to trade Karl Anthony Towns and Nah,
hmm
so Nikhil Alexander Walker for
Yep. Yep.
Trey Young, right, from Atlanta. So Trey Young and Clint Capella. Would you do that trade?
Probably. But then the hard thing was because Clint Capella plays a lot like Rudy Gobert does. Clint Capella doesn't shoot the three, very often.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could trade Rudy Gobert
Yep.
and for Trey Young and Clint Capella, I'll do it without a question. Without a question, in my mind, I'll do that first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would do it. But then, what would you do? How would that whole aspect work when you have two of the same? I mean, Dallas did it with Derek Lively and Gafford. They they were non-shooters and they played the same.
Yep.
You know, so um,
Mm-hmm.
you have to play it like them. So I would probably still do the trade and then set up your offense just like Dallas does. Yeah.
Okay.
Dallas is perfect. Dallas is perfect because
Yeah,
how they
for
play
sure.
them two.
I
They
agree.
For one, they don't play them together ever. So they play them 5 minutes at a time, and they play their ass off for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Then they stop on, the other guy comes in who does the exact same thing as the other guy does, and then he plays his ass off for 5 minutes. And then it's kind of like
Yeah.
they treat them two like they would like hockey players. How often they sub each other out, and
Mhm.
play 5 minutes, play your ass off. Okay, guess what? The
Yep.
next guy comes in, does the exact same thing you do, and then just play together. It's perfect. Honestly, it's quite genius how Dallas does
Yeah.
Gafford and Lively. And Lively's a
Yeah.
rookie. He's like
Yeah, I
19
was
years old.
impressed with both of them, like,
You know what?
honestly.
I saw that and I'm like, yeah, Lively's a rookie, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy crap, dude, that dude does not play like a rookie. Like the rookies this year with Lively, Chet
Yeah.
Holmgren, Wembyana, like these rookies coming in now are just like,
Mhm.
dude, you guys are insane. Like, it's crazy how good.
The NBA is the NBA is pretty fortunate with this talent coming out with Wembyana and
Oh God.
Holmgren
Mhm.
and Lively. Lively, I think he was like what, like all
Mhm.
13th, 14th pick somewhere in that ballpark
Yeah.
too. So he wasn't a
Mhm.
top 10 guy, but man, he's a really good player.
He's
I
playing
think he
like
could
it.
be a problem in this league for many years to come. So,
Oh yeah. And they're only gonna get better.
yep.
It's crazy. Like,
For sure, for sure. So I just want to just go back real quick, and give my answer too on, the Young trade. If I would trade Cat with Nah for Trey Young and Clint Capella, I think I would do it for sure. And a huge reason to me is, I think that you kind of see in the playoffs the guard play is pretty important to go forward. You look at the Mavericks, you look at Boston, they do have those solid guards too. And I just think that Trey Young at this point of his career, he's a pretty young kid. Obviously, Cat's still pretty young too, but I think I'd rather have Trey Young than Karl-Anthony Towns at this point. Just to have that pure guard who can go out and just hit the 3-pointers and things like that. And we can find bigs to fill in that power forward position. They're out there. We don't have to have a guy making $40 million plus. We actually have two guys locked in there that's probably making both together over $80 million. So I just don't think we really need that locked up in that. I'd rather have that kind of set aside in like some shooting or in some shooters. So that's just my opinion with it too. So I would definitely make that trade. I would try if I could to find someone else to trade besides Nah, because I really do like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think he's very solid defensively. So if we could find, package someone else in there, who's not McDaniels, who's not Nas. So I don't know what we could really give up to get those guys in that package, but hey. And also we're getting Clint Capella in return too, so he's a big as well. So that would be helpful. So yeah, I would definitely do that. I'll definitely do it. But
definitely.
Well, yeah. So maybe before we move on to our top, you're going over our top 5 favorite Timberwolves players, we just talk quick and predict who we think is going to win the NBA Finals. So as we're recording right now, obviously Game 1's going on. Boston had a huge lead, and Dallas kind of slowly came back. Scores 77-64 right now in the third quarter with 153. So, just watching this game, even before game started, I was thinking Boston in like 6 games. And then just the way they came out and just put it on Dallas from the get-go, I was like, oh my gosh, could this be a sweep? Could we see a sweep in the finals? I would not be surprised. But I just think Dallas is going to find a way to get a 1 or 2. So I'm going to stick with Boston in 6.
I totally agree. And I can't remember the last time there was a sweep in the finals. I don't know if there ever was one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's been one. I'm sure there has in the history.
I'm sure there has been one, but I just can't remember the last time there was one.
Yeah, well, maybe I can look it up. Who do you think is going to win the finals?
I think Boston in 6.
Okay. And what do you like about Boston more than Dallas? Obviously getting Kristaps Porzingis too has been huge because he's had an incredible first half.
He's the whole reason why I think they're going to win it all is because he came back.
Okay.
I think that if they didn't have Porzingis, they wouldn't have won it. There's no way they would have beat Dallas. Just their defense and their their ability to shoot the 3-pointer is the biggest reason why I think their defense is unmatched. Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis,
dude, he had an unreal block at the rim, today.
Yeah,
where guys
he's
come in.
7-1 and can shoot the 3.
Yeah.
Yep,
for sure. So it says, has there ever been a 4-0 sweep in the finals? And the first ever sweep was in 1959 as the Celtics swept the Lakers.
Well,
the Minneapolis Lakers at that time. So hey, there we go. Look at that.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. But the last sweep was in 2018 when the Warriors swept Cleveland, it says.
They swept Cleveland?
So in 2018, the Warriors swept Cleveland, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that was when they had Durant. So, yeah.
Was it? Yeah, because I remember one of those finals being pretty quick. And let's see, 2018 NBA Finals. And yeah, they did sweep them. Yep, Durant was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
That was James's last game as a Cavalier before he joined the Lakers too. So makes sense. But
it does. That team was so stacked, dude.
Yeah. Those runs they had with the Warriors was pretty crazy there for a while, just a dynasty there for a while.
It was.
So
it really was.
Well, yeah, moving on. So we're going to move right into our top 5 favorite Timberwolves players. So yeah, do you want me just to start off?
Yeah, you can start off.
All right. So before I just name my 5th player, I'm just going to talk about this 5th player's draft. And this 5th player was drafted in 2009. We had 2 picks in the top 10, I just want to just go through these 3 picks in a row here. So my 5th favorite player is actually Ricky Rubio, who I just mentioned. Just really liked his creativity on the floor, his unreal passing, just a true playmaker at the point guard position. I thought Ricky Rubio was a really fun player to watch. But then the 6th pick here, we took Johnny Flynn, who ended up playing 3 years for us. And the next pick, Kevin, at 7, the Golden State Warriors took Stephen Curry.
Don't remind me.
So we took 2 point guards there, and we could have had potentially the best point guard
in
the history of the NBA. Yeah, the best pure shooter in the history of NBA. So
depressing.
Yeah, I hate to bring that back, but I just had to say that real quick. So I thought that was kind of funny. I remember that draft too, and I remember watching Stephen Curry at Davidson during the March Madness and how just unreal he was. And
yeah, the March Madness was magical.
Yep. And I was hoping we would maybe draft him then, and of course we didn't, and it's history. Yeah. So things happen, brought us to where we are today, and obviously Curry's not complaining.
We use like just because he was from a small school, like I can see why we didn't draft him, because some scouts probably thought he was gonna be a college wonder, like a lot of those college players are. But man, he proved otherwise.
He really did, for sure. So. Just an unreal player. But who's your 5th favorite player for the Timberwolves?
That's gotta be Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio? Okay.
Yeah. I just wish he would have had a better career than what they anticipated him to have.
Yeah.
Because when they draft him, they're like, oh, he's the next Magic Johnson, basically. Then we waited, 2 years to get him? We had to finish our contract overseas.
Do they still do those bird rights anymore in the NBA?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's kind of a thing. That's kind of a nice thing, actually, if you think about it, because it kind of gave those players, you still got to control their contracts without them having any time started on it, and they actually got the development too. So, in a way, it's kind of nice, that they didn't have to come and sit on your bench and develop over here when they could develop pro.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Those European leagues are so crazy because you can Luka Doncic was a pro at 16 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like, oh, I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna do high school online. I'm gonna play professional basketball and get paid for it.
Yep, definitely a different country in Europe there. That's for sure. So, or countries, I should say.
Yeah. Then I saw this Instagram reel that I had to send you. But it was this 12-year-old kid.
Yep.
He's a 6'10", he's a 12-year-old. And you would have thought he was 18. Dude was so good. It was like...
And was he playing pro over there?
No, he was playing in like some U18 league somewhere.
But he's 12.
But he's 12. Playing in a U18 league and just dominating. And he's a 6'10", 12-year-old. It's crazy. Man, that's crazy. How much talent these kids have nowadays. It's crazy.
It's fun to watch. It's cool to see, and hopefully the talent just keeps getting better and better. So
totally.
But well, moving on to my 4th player. My 4th favorite player is Cat. So hard not to have Cat in there. Obviously, Cat has his ups and downs, but he's been a very prominent player for the Wolves. 573 career games, 22.9 points per average for his career. 10.8 rebounds for his career. Overall, his field goal shooting percentage for his career is at 52.4%, and his from the 3-point line is 39.8%. So not too bad. But first overall pick in 2015. Yeah, Cat's just been one of my favorite players. If we did trade him this offseason, I would kind of be like, okay, it was time. He's been here for 9 years now?
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if the Wolves did bring him back, the whole gang back, actually, and try to run it back one more time. So.
And I'm assuming that's what probably is going to happen. Unless
Hopefully we can find, though, another point guard who can do more than we thought probably what that Morris would do when we went and traded for him. So, but who's your 4th favorite Timberwolves player?
Charles Sprewell. He was on that 03-04 the last time we went to the Western Conference Finals. He's just athletic, and I just like the swagger he played the game with.
For sure.
Just I don't give a crap attitude about you. I'm just gonna
Yep.
go hoop, you know? I just
Yeah.
wish we would have had him a little bit longer afterwards. I think we had
Yeah.
him for another year or two afterwards, but
Yeah, he was a cool player. He was a part of that 04, 03, 03, 04 teams, right?
yeah, it
That team?
was
Okay.
Sam Cassell.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
perfect segue. That's my third player is Sam Cassell. So
uh-huh.
he only spent 2 seasons with us in 03, 04, 04, 05, but his 03, 04 season start on this list I'm looking at, and he is reason why is because he was 10th in MVP voting
Oh, yeah.
during that year. So he had a really um
Mhm.
career year during that time. But yeah, really like Sam Cassell. Just seemed like a type of guy that just kind of put his head down and went to work, kind of like a
Yeah.
blue collar guy. I don't remember him like really complaining that much. He kind of reminds me like a Mike Conley,
Mhm.
but yeah, just a blue collar dude that
Yeah.
wasn't super flashy, that just showed up and did his job. So,
The
but yeah, that was my third player. Who's your third overall player for the Timberwolves?
Kevin Love,
There you go.
I mean, what can you say? He was a rebound machine, you know? Don't know how many games,
Yep.
shit, 20, he averaged like 20 rebounds a game almost for the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
You know, could give you 40 points a night if you really wanted to.
Yep.
And I just feel bad for Kevin Love because like how dominant he was.
Hmm.
His teams that he were on, like they were terrible. Like like
Hmm.
do you remember like we had Andre Karolinko? Like nobody remembers
Yeah.
that we had him back then.
Hmm.
Just that era that he played for Timberwolves at, he was so dominant. But then
Those were the down
the
years,
overall
man.
team in general was just
Right.
garbage.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch Timberwolves basketball back then, but you watched it because
Yeah.
of Kevin Love.
Like
So
Ant and Kat said in that one funny press game conference there, they're like, well, how much more do you want us to lose? Been losing for 20 years. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like
we had a long
you know,
stretch of a lot of just losing in the same kind of position every single year. So
um, I think the Timberwolves have been put on the back burner from
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Wild, the Vikings, and the Twins. Like they're the forgotten Minnesota team because
Yep.
they've been
I would
terrible the
agree
last
for sure.
so many years.
The
Until how many first round picks do we have in a row? We had Wiggins,
Yep.
Anthony Bennett,
Yeah.
and Carl Towns like 3 years in a row. And
Yep.
then like 2 years later, we got Anthony Edwards. It's like we had 400 picks in like 5 years almost.
Kevin Love was he a second? Kevin Love was he a
Yes, yeah,
second overall
yeah, back
pick,
there.
or was he
He's a top
first?
5 pick, I believe.
Yeah, he was for sure a top 5 pick. So yeah, we had a lot of talent, but not a lot of guys around that talent. So
Yeah,
it's finally we
right.
have a roster. Hopefully they can build it more out with
Mm,
with Edwards and those guys, but Edwards
yeah,
definitely the focal point. We need to build around him. So yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So going over my second overall player, that is Anthony Edwards. So Anthony Edwards is, I don't have much else to say otherwise. But he's just an absolute dog,
Yeah,
you know. So such a fun guy to watch. I told everyone, if you haven't been watching Timberwolves this season, you got to watch because he is must watch TV. Every time he goes out there, he does
yes.
something special, puts out a highlight. Even if we're down, he might have a tremendous dunk or tremendous play.
Yeah,
He's still learning. He's 22 years old, still makes some bonehead decisions here and there, obviously, but just a crazy, crazy talent. And
yeah,
I'm super excited to continue to watch his development and see where he can take us. So Anthony Edwards is my second overall favorite Timberwolf. How
yeah.
about you?
Sam, she's the most exciting player we had in 20 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, just makes you want to watch basketball again. Like, you're holding buckets. Their team's actually good now because it's crazy that one guy can just change the
Yeah,
momentum
no
of
doubt about it.
the
Yep.
trajectory of a team. Especially in basketball, because there only is 5 guys on the court. There's like an NFL quarterback. A quarterback could do the same thing. One guy, one quarterback could drastically change how your team is.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch him on USA basketball this summer too and see what he can do and watch his growth after that
And
too, just playing with
oh yeah, I think that's gonna be super good for him because he's gonna play with all these high level athletes of how he's gonna watch how they work out, how they train, how they eat, how they
Yeah.
take care of themselves. Like, and I think this postseason was a good learning experience for him to be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we got this far. Now, how do I take my game a step further
Yep, for sure.
to take this team
And you
even
can talk with
farther
those guys.
next
You can
year?
talk with Durant and talk about the runs
Mhm.
that he had with Warriors and things like.
Exactly. I think LeBron's even on that team too. Be like, hey,
Yeah,
how did you get like? How do you become a better leader? You know,
and how they can,
just like, I mean,
yeah, you can just like pick the brains of those guys. So I'm super excited to see that. But well, moving on to our number one
yeah,
guy, I have a feeling that this player is probably the same since we haven't mentioned them yet. So Kevin, why don't you take it away? Who do you think is our number one, my number one
yes.
overall player too?
Christian Leitner. No,
No,
what the?
you're close.
It's Kevin
You're
Garnett.
close, but no, not Christian.
It's Kevin Garnett.
It is Christian. No, it's Christian Leitner. You were right. No, yeah, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket. How can't you love
Mm-hmm.
KG? Man, I hope that Glenn Taylor finally sells the rest of the team over to the Mark Lore group and Alex Rodriguez A-Rod group.
I
So
agree.
we can finally have Kevin Garnett back here at Target Center and we can retire that jersey.
And he just
Yeah,
have
just
his jersey in
retire
the
it then,
rafters because he even said that he won't retire until
Yeah.
he's gone.
Well,
That's
he's
how
gonna be
much they
gone
never got
someday,
along.
but hopefully it's because he
Yeah,
sells
he
the
will.
team.
And then,
So,
yeah, and that should be number one on the owner's list afterwards. Is to
yep, for
get
sure.
him in there,
And they should
get
give
him
him the
back.
stake
You
of it
know.
too. He wanted a part of it a long time ago, right? And that's kind of like
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the falling out
He did
happened.
wanna.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
He did. I think that's part of the reason why they
get
don't
along. Yeah.
see eye to eye with each other
Well, it
anymore.
makes sense, that's for sure. So yeah, KG, just
Yeah.
a heck of a player. How can't you like a guy like that? So
He's
yeah.
what made me fall in love with basketball. Like, he's the
Hmm.
reason why I always wanted to be a center or a power forward. Like, he's the reason why
Yeah.
my favorite number is 21. Like, he's just a freak of nature, and just his intensity on the court was unmatched with anybody
Yep.
else ever.
I loved his little pregame when he
Mhm.
had the powder and like throw it up in the air. You know.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then LeBron copied it.
And then anything is possible moment after they won the NBA Finals. I remember that was a special moment.
Oh, it was. It was great. And I became a Celtics fan
Oh yeah, for sure.
because
Yep.
he went there. And you followed
Yeah, I
your
wanted
favorite
KG to win
players,
it.
you know?
So
Yeah. hmm And then when he came back the last time, I was probably the happiest person in the state of
for
Minnesota
sure.
when he decided to come back. And did you ever see that video with that fan?
I don't think I have. Maybe it's been a while.
So back when he won the MVP in 03,
Yeah.
04,
Okay.
he took his shirt off during the game and he said KG for MVP
Yeah.
and was like dancing on the court,
Yeah.
dancing his hand, and KG pointed
Oh
to him.
really?
Well, yeah, well, when KG came back, that exact same fan wrote
Mm-hmm.
"Welcome back, KG" on his stomach and took his shirt off. And KG was like, "Hey, it's you again!"
That's
Yeah, it
funny.
was
That's
like
funny.
20, like so. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's super cool. But
If I can find that video, I'll send it to you.
yeah, you have to send that to me for sure. So
Yeah,
well, yeah, just that's kind of a wrap about the Timberwolves, and hopefully, we'll see what they do this off season. We'll see what they do at the NBA draft. Hopefully, like we said, we can maybe add a point guard this off season, maybe draft a point guard here in the first round too that they could sit and develop. When Conley's gone, maybe he can step in there and
yeah,
potentially be a backup to hopefully a guy like Garland or a guy like uh, Trey Young that we talked about too. So
yeah. I hope we get Darius Garland. Darius Garland's a free agent this year, so I hope he comes here.
yeah, we'd have to for sure shed money to get him. That's for sure. So,
Oh yeah, without a question.
but
Somehow, somewhere.
well, moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. So, just as before we get started here, it is finally time. It has finally happened. Moment that we have been waiting for a while, and that is Justin Jefferson signed his 4-year
Yes.
extension, $140 million, $110 million guaranteed, roughly $88 million was paid to him at signing. As soon as he put his name on that paper, 88 sheets went right to his bank account. So, let's go. We are so pumped to have this signing happen, and I'm just so excited that it is not another Randy Moss thing. We get to keep our superstar wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the NFL in Minnesota. How do you feeling?
I'm excited, and I'm glad we did it now before like training camp happens. So we didn't hold on training camp. I'm glad he's back for OTAs. So we can build the chemistry with our hopefully new brand new quarterback we got, but even Sam Darnold.
Supposedly last year, right at the end of training camp, before the regular season was going to be started, they had a deal in place. But JJ backed out on the last minute. And it was because his AAV would be roughly like 29, I think $30 million. And so he really bet on himself to earn more money. And he got it, you know? So, yeah, for sure. He got it. So fine. I'm glad that it happened, you know, but there was some truth back then that he did. In fact, there was a deal that was in place and he declined at that time. So,
and that's impressive that they even like, man, it'd be so hard for me to like turn down $30 million a year.
right.
Be like, man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash money.
For sure. But the $88 million at signing, can you imagine $88 million just going right to your bank account in like a day or so, or however long that takes, you know?
Oh, I'm sure it takes probably a week, probably, you know? The bank's going to be like,
it has to.
The bank's like, whoa, hold up here.
I'm sure they had to call him. They had to make a like private transaction there to do that. So. But yeah, in other news too, the Vikes brought back Dalton Reisner, so we're gonna have our whole offense line intact from last year. So we'll have Darrisaw at left tackle, Reisner at left guard, Bradbury at center, Ingram at right guard, and O'Neal at right tackle. So I'm super excited that we have that coming back. You know, I don't think we always have that same core guys. They're not same core guys, but same starting five coming back. So it's nice to have that consistency.
It's been a couple of years, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like our guards.
It's also been a couple of years since you've had the same offense and defensive coordinator come back.
Yeah, that's very true. A very good point as well. So some consistency coming back. Obviously, the big questions at the quarterback position. Yeah, I'm excited. I think Darnold can come in and play some good football for us. And like we talked before, just not until JJ is ready. Or I should say now JJ McCarthy. We have two JJs on the team, right?
Yeah, right.
So JJ McCarthy's ready, then you'll throw him in when he's ready. So no rush. What did you think about the Vikes draft, you know, in the first round real quick before we move on to your top?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
It didn't get any better. Didn't have to get your quarterback you wanted, and then you get Dallas Turner at 17. Arguably the best defensive player in the draft, like us perverse.
Yeah, no doubt.
Couldn't have done any better.
For sure. So and then they also
unless we got
go ahead.
Unless we got Jane Daniels or Caleb Williams at 11, which obviously was never ever going to happen. But, you know.
Yeah, you know, I thought everything worked out for us. So only had to move up one spot to go get McCarthy, the quarterback, and we didn't have to give up a a pick next year in the first round, which is good. We don't have a second, third, or fourth next year, but we should be getting some comp picks coming our way too, I'd imagine. And then we'll see what happens with the whole Atlanta thing with Cousins and
you gotta think all that. So
yeah, there had to be some tampering going on there because he's.
You know, with the Eagles, I guess the Eagles are tampering too. I guess.
Really, with who?
I'm not sure.
With Barkley, maybe. Was it Saquon?
The Eagles and
Saquon signed there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I'm sure it happens. You know, I'm sure it's way more common than we think.
Oh yeah. It'd be hard not to, you know.
Well, then they came out today too with the new all white jersey, and the first time ever all white helmet for Monday night in December versus the Chicago Bears.
It's gonna be such a crazy game.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
What'd you think of those?
Those jerseys are so sick. Yeah, the white face mask, the white helmet, the horns all lined purple. Like now the fans, if whoever goes to the game, just needs to wear all white.
Yeah,
you know, just remind me of the whiteout game at Penn
Yep.
State.
Or the whiteouts that we're doing for the Timberwolves. I went to game 1 versus the Suns. We had a whiteout in there. They're getting all free shirts. So, and the nice thing is too, if you need a different
Yeah.
size, you go trade it in and get a bigger size. So they just had like a generic one size on the chair, and then you can just go
sweet.
to the service building or service area to get a new shirt. So yeah, definitely. Well, some exciting times for the Vikes. We'll get into summer here, and the next thing you know, it'll be training camp. The next thing you know, it'll be preseason, and then it'll be back to regular season football, man, just like that.
Crazy.
So
Coming fast.
yeah, it really is, really is. So yeah, just we're gonna go over Kevin's top 5 favorite Vikings of all time. You can you can hear mine in our previous episode. Just to go over real quick too, my 5th player is Steve Hutchinson. 4th player is Adrian Peterson. 3rd player is Jared Allen. 2nd player is Randy Moss. And then 1st player is John Randall. When I did mine, I didn't include guys who are on the current roster. Well,
I won't do that either.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, if
I
you
won't do it
want
either.
though, Kevin, like if you want to put guys that are on the current roster, you can. But if you don't want to,
No,
you
I'm
don't
not
have to.
gonna.
It's up to you. Okay.
Yeah, I won't do that.
So you want to do guy? You want to stay of a kind of like old school or maybe
Yeah.
older players, or might even be guys who are in the league that are just on a different team or something like that too. So
Yeah.
all right, so let's get started, Kevin. Who is your 5th favorite Viking of all time?
Gotta be Robert Smith,
Okay.
the running back when.
Yep, I remember Robert Smith. Number 26, right?
Yep, number
Yep.
26. He's another guy just like Barry Sanders who retired in his prime. I wish he would have stayed longer because he was
Definitely
a good running
I
back.
think he does college football commentary now too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good player. He's a fun running
Yeah, I
back.
like him.
I think he was Big D on Big D's list too, so that's kind of funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was on Big D's top 5. Who is your 4th overall or 4th favorite player?
Robert Griffith, safety, just the hardest hitter that I've seen in a long time. Besides Brian Dock, like in that discussion of hardest hitters,
Yeah.
just our own tough player. You never want to go across the middle against him.
Yep, for sure. I remember him. Yeah, like you said, he was a tank. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That was a throwback there, Robert Griffith. Man, I forgot about him until you said that name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember him for sure.
Yeah, the old
20. Do you say number 27?
Number 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah, the old linebacker Brian Urlacher face mask. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Who is your 3rd favorite Viking of all time?
Ooh. Antoine Winfield.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. I wish we were drafted as kids.
Oh man, me too.
Going to get ends. And then this free agency, I was hoping to get him this free agency, but we did it again. I'm like,
I know. He got paid though, man. He got a lot of money.
yeah, he did. And he deserved
It was
all
cool
of
to
it
see him
too,
stay back down in Tampa. But yeah, we should have definitely, during that draft, I wanted us to take him late in the 1st round. And we took Gladney because I think that was the same year we took JJ. So yeah, Antoine Winfield, he was an awesome corner. So I just loved, how he would just come up and just hit guys right at the line of scrimmage. You'd not be afraid to tackle big dudes and all that. So
I one of the best tackling defensive backs.
Yep.
In a long time.
For sure. Just a really solid dude too. He just seemed like a great guy. So okay, who is your 2nd favorite Viking?
My favorite Vikings quarterback of all time, Dante Culpepper.
Okay.
I just liked it because I don't know if it's because if you had Randy Moss or what, but he just took the 5-step drop and he just chucked that thing as far as he could throw it. And I like that mentality. He didn't care if, granted, 90% the deep balls that he threw were to Randy Moss. He didn't care if Moss was double covered, triple covered. The whole team was on him. He still got to chuck it to him. It's like, you go that way. I'm going to throw it as far as I can go, and you just go get it,
Yeah, for sure.
A scrambling quarterback.
Yep.
It's sad that he went to Miami. I'm sad that he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
And then he went to Miami. And then only played a couple years, then he left. But I really liked him.
Yeah, he was on a nice trajectory for us too, so who knows what could have happened if he hurt his knee or if he didn't hurt his knee. So it's a bummer for sure. All right, I'm curious. I'm I'm kind of having an idea who number 1 is, and I have a hunch. But who's your favorite Viking of all time?
Mr. Randy Moss.
Heck yeah, straight cash, homie. Let's go.
He was just a
Yep.
freak. And his celebrations were the best.
Yeah.
Like when he mooned the Packers, it was just,
Yep.
the straight cash homie. Like he didn't care. Like he just was like, I'm gonna play football, and I'm gonna say what I want to say. And if you're gonna find me, I'll just pay it.
Dude, it's just Randy Moss was. I kind of think about this now, and in a way, he's like the same kind of, well, totally different mindsets of types of players, right? And how they kind of carry themselves off the field. But Justin Jefferson is probably like the epitome of when Randy Moss was for the kids nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the superstar wide receiver, like kids, who are like people listen to this, like who didn't get to watch Randy Moss. Justin Jefferson would be a great example of how talented a player is in the league. That's how I would say, like, you kind of can describe Randy Moss. So,
and like, how many YouTube videos do you see these kids doing the gritty?
yeah.
Nobody knew what the gritty was until Justin Jefferson did his first ever touchdown.
No, not at all. That's very true. Very true.
I mean, I had no idea what it was until then.
I didn't either. Honestly, I don't even remember them doing that at LSU. Honestly, so
no, I don't doubt, because I think the song came out after he graduated. Because it's in a song.
Yeah.
The guy does it in a song. That's how he found it. But when Justin Jefferson did it, he put it on this pedestal that the guy doesn't even sings a song could ever do. It was crazy that, like, the guy who did the song, Justin Jefferson did it the same thing, but the total level of, like, notoriety, I guess, that the his dance did is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of probably took his song to a whole nother level because of his superstarness, for sure.
Oh, totally.
So his platform really helped that song grow, I'm sure. Definitely him and Jamal to a degree as well. So, but yeah, well, we're kind of getting to that point of the episode where we're just kind of wrapping up now. So, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's fun to have you back on, and
definitely
we'll definitely have to have you here on in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah, so listeners, just be looking for our next episode, and just thank you for listening, and just keep on supporting the podcast, and we hope you all have a great start of the summer here. So, all right. Well, until next time, Skol Vikes. Thank you for listening to our episode. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and X at Naptime Sports Talk Podcast for content related to the pod. Thank you for the support.